Hey everybody, Colleen Riddle here, coming to you on this Monday afternoon. How's everybody doing today? Monday, check, out of the way, right? Hope your day was as good as mine. It's a beautiful day here in Santa Rosa Beach. So I wanted to talk to you guys about, I talked to y'all Friday about the intense workshop I went to, right, over the weekend called PSI, and about keeping your word. That was one of my big takeaways from that event. Well, I wanted to share with you another takeaway from that event, and that is victim versus responsibility. Right? So it can be kind of a deep topic, but I just want to share the exercise that I did and my thoughts on it and get y'all's feedback, all right? So those two words, kind of neither one of them are that great, right? When you think about being a victim, well, no one wants to admit they go around in life being a victim. And then when you hear the word responsible, it brings me back to like when I was a kid, right? Like your parents saying, who's responsible for this mess? Or you've got to be a responsible adult. So they each have, their little connotations that we might have in our head depending on how we were raised. But what I wanted to share with y'all is, so during this, one of the exercises over the weekend, we partnered up with someone, and the facilitator said, okay, I want you to share with your partner a time that you felt totally taken advantage of, that you were wronged, someone did you wrong, and tell your partner it, and tell it so juicy that your partner wants to like find this person and shake them and say, man, you did her wrong. So that was the exercise. And so I did that, and I was telling about a time that I thought I was taken advantage of with this joint partnership. I went in and told all the juicy details. And then once we were done, the facilitator said, okay, now, for 2 minutes, just 2 minutes, I want you to look at it through a different perspective. I want you to look at it like you are taking responsibility for this, okay? He said, I know you're not gonna like it, but just take 2 minutes. So I looked at it through a different lens, because really it's all about perspective, right? So, think about, have you ever put on sunglasses that have like a red tint and you look out and everything is red, and then you put on a pair of blue sunglasses and everything has a blue tint? It's all about your perspective. And so when I went back and I really thought about this specific situation, I thought, wow, I should have asked more questions. I should have gotten clarity. I went into this blind and I didn't ask enough questions. It's just as much my fault as it is the other person's fault. And so I began to take responsibility for the situation. And it was so interesting, you guys, just to flip that different perspective for a 2 minute thing. And then now I'll never go back and say, wow, I was a total victim in that situation. And so I just wanted to bring this and, have a discussion about it. And because there's benefits of both, right? Like, when you are a victim in a situation, people feel sorry for you, you get sympathy, you get to be right? I have a great mentor, Richard Brooke, that has talked about that, is it more important to be right, or is it more important to be happy? And a lot of people are stuck in being right all the time, right? So being a victim, and also being a victim allows you to just not take responsibility for things. And that way you can sit and blame people and just sit in that satisfaction. So that's the benefits of being a victim. But the benefits of actually looking at a different perspective and taking responsibility for something and really going, wow, when you do that, you realize how empowered you are. It gives you power. Like, I am going to make these certain decisions and no one's going to make me feel a certain way. I'm empowered to do that because I'm taking responsibility. And also, the more you do it, again, as I've looked at situations, the more your self-esteem increases when you take responsibility. And the more your self-confidence goes up, you start to trust yourself more. So those are the awesome benefits of taking responsibility. And so as I stopped and thought, when this was brought to my attention, of, how often in my life am I the victim? And even little things, like I thought, oh my gosh, so often, like if I'm behind, I'm like, oh my gosh, the traffic was so bad. Man, if that person hadn't pulled out in front of me and I would have made that green light, okay, victim, 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 right? When really, if I hadn't have spent 10 minutes looking for my keys, or if I'd have woken up 10 minutes earlier and gotten my booty out of bed, that's something little, but all those little things add up. So if you start just taking the little things of going, oh, I think I'm being a victim here, and try to shift it and see what happens. because the other thing, this blew my mind. The instructor brought this up, and maybe you do this. I do this way too often, and I've got to apologize to my husband because often I'm a victim here in this situation. I come home and I go, oh, honey, my day was so long. Oh my gosh, I am so exhausted. I didn't have any breaks today. I worked all day and I am just so exhausted, right? Being the victim. Well, what happens in that situation? I get to not take responsibility. So if I make him feel sorry for me, he might cook me dinner. I won't have to do anything. I won't have to participate. That's awful. I had no clue I was doing that. So I wanted to bring this up because sometimes it's just a matter of like shining a little light on us and going, wow. And these little shifts we can make a huge difference in our lives and in our relationships. Because I'm sure you can probably think of someone that is always the victim. Do you like to be around that person? Probably not. So we want to make sure that we're not always that person. So a couple of things I wanted to leave you with was ask yourself questions the next time, or if you look back at a situation, how could you have handled it differently, and take responsibility. Like I said, with mine, it was like, I should have asked more questions. I should have gotten clarity around the matter, and empowered myself with that and not been afraid if I look stupid. And maybe you bring something up at the wrong time of day. You look at that and go, yeah, that was on me. I shouldn't have caught him and asked him that question at the end of the day when I know he's tired all the time. So that's what I wanted to bring y'all today. Just start to be aware of when you're being a victim, when you're taking responsibility, and try to ease more on that side of taking responsibility for your actions, whether they're big or they're little, because they all add up. So let's see who's on here today. Oh, I look good. Diane, I miss you. Hey, Cindy. Hey, Cheryl. So I'm going to be hopping on here on a daily basis, you guys, to touch base with y'all on topics like this, topics on health. So I'm excited to connect. So if you felt like you got some great, if you thought this was a good topic and other people could benefit, give this a share, if you will. And let's create some conversation about this. I'd love to hear your response in the comments. So that is all for this Monday. Y'all have an awesome evening, and I'll talk to you soon.